Hello, music makers. Welcome back. Happy 2026. There's this tech house track doing the rounds at the moment. You've probably heard it. It's called Positive by Jamback. Have you ever wondered what that track would sound like in a different key? No? Just me? Okay. Welcome to my brain. No, but hear me out. Last year I made this video. You probably didn't see it because I'm terrible at thumbnails, but in that video I found out that if the key of a track is reported to be major, there's well over a 90% chance that that label is wrong. Because as I discussed in that video, in electronic music, major is extremely rare, typically being represented by only 1% of releases. So that begs the question, what's so wrong with major keys? And why is minor so dominant? I feel an experiment coming on, don't you? I have this debate with fellow producers and musicians all the time. What creates the vibe of a track? Aside from the groove, of course, how much of it is the sound and how much of it is the note choices? Like, for example, Destination Calabria. Would it be anywhere near as iconic if they hadn't used that one-key sax for the lead? What if they'd gone with a more standard choice like a piano or something? And because I'm a musician, I often think of that thought experiment in the other direction. What if they kept the sound but used different notes? Now, we can't run that experiment with that particular track because it's far too famous. Any change to the sound or the notes would just sound off to us. We've been conditioned for far too long at this point. But what about a newer track? Well, I can, so I did. I present to you Jamback's Positive in 5 different keys. Well, technically just scales, but that's the best way of comparing things. First, so you can wrap your ears around it, let me introduce you to the individual parts. So obviously we have some drums, then we have a bass part. There's this upper, more rhythmic bass layer here. There's a melody coming from this chopped up vocal stab. Then there's the ARP lead. And finally, a pad, actually playing the chords. So here's all that in the original key, minor. By the way, as I alluded to earlier, this isn't an exact one-to-one with the original, not just for legal reasons, but if you didn't know, some scales only differ by one note. There's only one change of the 7 notes, but that small change can make all the difference. I made a whole video about it. So if that one note isn't present, you won't hear a change at all. So I've added a few extra notes and a couple of chords for the turnaround. Anyway, here's that exact same section again, but in major. Quick compare back to minor. Major. Well, it's certainly a vibe shift. What did you think? Emotionally, how does that change the feel of the track for you? Or does it not? And that's not me trying to get YouTube engagement either, no. I would genuinely love to know, because obviously I'm more sensitive to this because of my level of ear training. I can hear all of the individual notes changing. But what does it change for you guys? Anyway, I didn't just stop at major and minor. The second most common scale in dance music is usually Frisian. Let's hear that. Now, that's a weird one. Even though it's only one note different to minor, Frisian can make some strange chords if you treat it like any other scale. You kind of have to write specifically for it. But outside of chords, it really comes into its own for darker melodies. So if we ditch the chords and just do something more similar to the first drop in Positive, a 1 drop, this is how Frisian sounds doing that. And here's that same section, but as just normal minor. Back to Frisian. minor. So hopefully you agree, Frisian works pretty well for riffs that aren't chorded, especially if you're going for a darker vibe. Back to the chord section now. The third most common scale is Dorian. Here's how that sounds. The way I hear the Dorian scale has always been like minor, but with some hope. Basically, chord 4 becomes major, so you get that lift. But how did you hear it? Let's go back to minor. Dorian. You get what I mean? Like minor, but more hope. Speaking of lifting the mood, the major scale has a cooler cousin. It's called Mixolydian. Depending on the genre, it's more common than major because of that. And that sounds like this. Comparing to normal major again. Back to Mixolydian. See, it's major's cooler cousin. I was going to do the remaining two main scales of Lydian and Locrian, but it wasn't a fair comparison. Even more so than Frisian, in those scales you have to write specifically for them. Just translating this progression over, like I've done with the rest here, doesn't work out. But there you go, 5 different keys. Does it equal 5 different moods? Let me know. As always, I hoped you learned something. If you did, please show your appreciation somehow. If you're feeling extra generous, there's a link in the description to buy me a coffee. But until next week, I will see you down there in the comments. Bye-bye.